Hello, and welcome to our ISP Careers of the Future Parent A to Z series, where we're bringing world-leading experts to talk to you, our parents, about how we can equip our children and make them future ready. I'm here today in beautiful, sunny St John's College, University of Cambridge, to talk to Dr. Matthias Dörrzapf, Director of Studies for Mathematics, about how we can help our students to embrace and learn more about mathematics, how we can get them excited about the future, and how we can make sure that they're ready to embrace the world of work, whatever that might be. Thank you so much for having me back here on campus. It's so nice to be back, having worked in the university previously, and today with you, Matthias, to talk to our parents about ISP Careers of the Future.
Well, thanks, Joe. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to you.
Can I ask you to introduce yourself and who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Matthias Dörrzapf. I'm a mathematician here at Cambridge. I've worked in financial mathematics, in particle physics, even in subjects as pure as algebra and all the data science nowadays. And I do research, I teach mathematics, I've got my own students, and in fact, I'm teaching my students in here, in exactly the room where we are now.
And what's your role within the college?
Some time ago, I was actually the senior tutor of the college. That's the person who's responsible for their education, their welfare. This used to be my role in the college until 2017, and since then, I've taken on a role reaching out to schools in the country, but also internationally. So I travel a lot. I talk to schools, promoting our education.
And for you, what sparked your initial interest in mathematics?
Originally, I wanted to do loads of things, and I guess at some stage I wanted to be a pilot, and then I wanted to be a teacher. What drew me into mathematics from physics is really just how fundamental mathematics is. And mathematics is everywhere and it's extremely powerful. And that, mathematics has the ability to see patterns, basically break these patterns down to what makes them work, understand why they work, and then see these patterns perhaps somewhere completely different, another area. And that just fascinated me.
I wonder if we could elaborate a little bit more on some of those areas, because I think mathematics, as you said, is such a broad field. I think as a parent, perhaps we don't understand the many, many applications that
Yeah.
mathematics can have. Would you be able to just give us a few examples?
Yes. So, I mean, first of all, I hear this very often. What can you actually do with mathematics? And lots of people tell me the only thing you can do with mathematics is to teach it. That's what I hear often, and from parents. And parents are surprised when I say, actually, I mean, if I look at my students, they go into, amazing careers. Where do you find mathematics? Well, look, finance, for example. I lecture also in finance sometimes, and mathematics really at the fundamental of modeling, say, how stock markets move, and even trying to model human behavior. And we all saw this in the pandemic. It was mathematics that could actually really tell us what would happen if we wear masks, and this will happen. If we don't wear masks, this will happen. And mathematics is extremely powerful. But then, at the same time, you can look at physics and, the very fundamentals of physics. Again, we use mathematics. We don't use colloquial language to describe physics. We use mathematics to describe physics. And, because it's just very powerful.
So our focus today is really on mathematics and careers of the future. But it'd be great to understand a bit more about some of those current traditional roles in the field of mathematics.
Yeah. I mean, I guess traditionally, mathematicians would have, I mean, certainly gone into, banking, actuarial science and accounting. I think, these are big areas. And of course, still a lot of mathematicians go in these directions.
And then thinking, are there any kind of high impact but low interest careers that you see students going into, things that are perhaps lesser known for parents and students?
Yes, I mean, obviously you find mathematicians everywhere. And, if I think about, for example, I've got one student, she's extremely successful in property development. And one of my students, he is a Royal Air Force pilot. And, also here, the mathematical skills. Another student of mine, he's now actually a very successful playwright. And
Wow, that's
a playwright.
incredible.
And also here, mathematical skills are actually extremely important here too.
What are the main challenges, do you think, that parents need to understand about mathematics? We've talked a little bit about how parents perhaps don't understand how broad it can be. Are there other challenges that we'd want to help parents understand?
Mathematics is really about understanding mathematics, not just using it. And I think there's a big difference between school mathematics and how I would describe mathematics. So mathematics is a lot about really understanding mathematics, understanding these structures, and having the ability to develop this new mathematical structures yourself. It's very often misunderstood to basically study all what is there and memorize it and repeat it in exams. But it's not at all about this. I mean, for me, mathematics is really sort of understanding, developing the insight, and developing new mathematics.
Thinking about kind of the future changes that we're seeing in the field of mathematics, how do we see kind of careers in maths evolving in the next 10 to 20 years? What major trends are going to drive this change?
I think what I would say is that certainly in the next 10 years, there will be a lot of mathematics, say, particularly in the field of biology, biomedical sciences. Of course, with the growth of AI, I mean, AI itself is, of course, a huge mathematical achievement. I mean, the fact that, mathematics can do that. And, in the end, AI is just a mathematical algorithm. And, it can predict the answers. And, sometimes it gets it wrong, but it can actually predict the answers very well. We need to learn, how to use AI efficiently and effectively.
I thought about biosciences and AI, but are there any other careers that are kind of emerging?
Yes, I certainly noticed probably in the last 5 years or so that many more of my students go into innovation, entrepreneurship, and tech related often, and start their own company or would join a startup company. And of course, here Cambridge also, because colleges are interdisciplinary, and interdisciplinary environments are very good for innovation. And I think my students, benefit a lot from the interdisciplinary nature, and in this way, indeed manage to start their own company, because in their friendship group they have, lawyers and engineers and economists, and that just helps with innovation.
How is kind of technology changing the way that we use maths and changing the way that we apply it in kind of AI, robotics, and other fields?
AI, of course, is very good at sort of memorizing things and help us. So we don't need to memorize anymore. AI can memorize for us. And I think this makes us a lot more efficient and really focus on what is really required. I mentioned earlier already, what mathematics really is about is developing the understanding. But if you use AI efficiently, we can really focus on exactly these tasks. I mean, when pocket calculators were invented, of course, that also helped us, in the way we do mathematics. And, a lot of the arithmetic, obviously, we still need to know how to do arithmetic, but the pocket calculator can do this for us. AI will not replace, what we do in mathematics, but it will help us in the same way as pocket calculators helped us.
I mean, what skills can we really encourage students to develop to support areas like AI, data science, biotechnology?
Even for an area like AI, I think it's important to understand why these algorithms work. Obviously, it's great to know these algorithms are there and knowing the algorithms, but for me as a mathematician, it's important to see why they work. So asking the why question, and that's really what I would encourage aspiring mathematicians or even scientists to ask that why question, and not just this is the algorithm, it works, and I learn how to use the algorithm and what AI does, but really why does it work. And I think at an early stage I would like to see also within mathematics that why question should be asked.
And we talked a little bit about earlier about how developing that interest in maths. How can students start to explore opportunities early if they're interested in maths? What can they be doing beyond perhaps beyond their own curriculum or
Yeah.
engaging with their own school
Yeah,
curriculum?
I mean, the lucky thing is that mathematics is everywhere, and mathematics lives from its application. So we can look at almost anything in daily life, and we will find mathematics. And just try to recognize it and see, oh yeah, mathematics is here. Or just any financial transaction I do, we use mathematics, of course, to do that transaction. But then any transaction also has risks, for example, and these risks we model again with mathematics. So I think I would encourage people, to see whenever we use mathematics everyday life, understand why and how we use mathematics, and perhaps also understand, how mathematics is superior to just colloquial language, and understand why we wouldn't use colloquial language for for that particular task.
Are there any particular online activities or extracurricular resources that might help spark
Yeah.
curiosity in the
So
field?
yes. So obviously, what we want to achieve is that they think more deeply about mathematics. That they are getting really interested in understanding, and this can of course be done in many ways. I mean, thinking about it, a student of mine, he invented a website called Mathigon, and lots of mathematics resources there, free of charge. And there will be a lot of sort of online resources available like this, where you can see fun mathematics. And I remember he once explained to me that he can solve, if I remember correctly, he can solve cubic equations by using origami, and he's folding paper, and that gives him the answers to problems in algebra, solving finding the roots of a cubic equation. I haven't fully understood how he does that, but there are lots of online resources like this out there.
And I liked your description of the way that you encourage students to discuss, describe,
Yeah,
and teach others maths, because for me that links to two things. One is that's actually the Cambridge style of learning, and certainly in an interview, you'd want to have students
yeah,
discussing
that's right.
their learning, be able to describe what they're doing and why, because
Yeah,
that's how you're able to see their problem solving and their thinking.
yeah,
But it also links very nicely to what we do at ISP about learning out loud, where we
yeah,
encourage our students to describe what they're learning, how they feel,
yeah.
because that also helps them to learn and to discuss their learning with others as well.
Yes, exactly. I think this is really essential, that this is built into the learning process at an early stage. And it's not just Cambridge interviews. This is life, right? Later on, in any business or in research and so on, you have to be able to describe your ideas. And if you could be working on Nobel Prize material stuff, but if you can't tell anyone that you're doing that, it's not going to happen.
Today, we're here talking and helping our parents to understand more about maths and careers of the future in mathematics, thinking about how we can encourage, or how parents can encourage curiosity with their children in maths-related careers from an early age. What can parents be doing to support, a new interest in maths, for example?
Exposing the children to just many different opportunities to to see numbers, to work with numbers, to understand numbers, but not just numbers, also mathematical concepts. Because I always think passions really have to be developed, and you develop passions by being exposed to just many ideas. And you know, s- some things, it's just in the nature of humans. There's some things we like, others we don't like. Some of them will really spark your curiosity, and you can achieve a lot with that kind of curiosity.
Do you think there's benefit in parents encouraging their children to gain kind of hands-on work experience in mathematical fields?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's also very important to see that also in within work out there, mathematics is really important, and is crucial. Work experience that really shows them mathematics really in action. I think that's also important in developing their passions.
And then finally, what advice would you give for parents who want to support their children in exploring non-traditional careers in this field?
Being open to a fundamental subject just like mathematics, and seeing that mathematics can be used in lots of areas. I think I started at the very beginning saying that very often I hear that mathematics, you cannot do much with mathematics, you can only teach it. And the reality is that I see my students going into so many different careers, and I think for parents it's important to realize that actually, mathematics is extremely powerful. Mathematics can predict things. Say, long before scientists sometimes, find things, it's the mathematicians who can predict that, look here, we can tell science, look here, and that's where you should find, say, new particle, or that's where, you should find new physics. I think it's very important for parents to realize that mathematics is just an extremely powerful subject.
So thank you so much, Matthias. It's been wonderful to chat with you today and understand more about careers of the future, and particularly supporting our parents at ISP, and also supporting our parents to support their students into inspiring them into careers in mathematics.
Well, thanks, Joe. It was really an enormous pleasure for me to talk about my own subject and to, you know, show you my passions in my own subject. Thank you.
Visit the ISP website and find out more about our Future Pathways programme and look through all the resources that we offer to support your students to meet their careers of the future. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Parent A to Z series.